Start recording.
Okay.
Good morning and welcome to the Biz Kids Hub. This is our very first interview with one of our young biz kids, and I'm excited that you guys have joined us. It's Kaci Richardson. Kaci has been doing this program with us, I think, for close to 8 years now,
Something like
and
that. Too long.
too long. And she has a lot of new information to bring to us about her experience, so you understand what it is. But for those of you that don't know what the Biz Kids Hub is, we are going to be doing live calls once a week where your kids can learn from other kids that have done this process and kind of ask questions and learn the whole process of how to start a business and what you need to do. So it's an easy way for the kids to kind of get interacted with each other and connected. Today's video we're recording for the first time on our own, so we don't have anybody else on here because this is our test model. So we'll see what works and what doesn't work. What we always celebrate at the Biz Kids is celebrate the failures. So once we make a failure or something doesn't work out the way we expected, this is our learning opportunity to figure out what to do next time that's going to make it better. So let's hear from Kaci. Kaci runs Kaci Cakes and Bakes. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
And tell us, Kaci, just give us a first introduction of you and what your business is.
All right. So my name is Kaci. I'm a young entrepreneur. My business that I'm currently running is called Kaci's Cakes and Bakes. I run it right now out of my home. I make custom cakes, desserts, cookies, any sweet treat you can imagine. I have a website. I have social media up and running. And a lot of my sales and a lot of like practice from that has come from this Biz Kids Expo situation. And it's a great learning opportunity and a great experience for me. So I'm excited to share that with you guys.
So do you remember the first time you did a market for the Biz Kids? I know
I
it wasn't named Biz Kids at that time, but
Yeah, I think I definitely remember it. I could not tell you what year it was, but I have very clear memories of that. That was like a trajectory change in my life when I did that.
so before you did that, had you ever sold anything before?
I had done some stuff when I was like middle school, elementary school age, because we had some stuff like that at my school where we were able to sell products with like fake money. And so that was like the first like taste of it that I got. But a lot of it has like started like with the professionalism like selling from this program. So
Nice. And you know what I've always noticed, the kids that come to our events and they actually make the dollar, that first dollar for something they've created, that's when you get excited
yeah,
and
feels
you're
good.
exact. It's okay to get some bucks that are you can spend at the school store for some candy, but when
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
your own cash, that's even better.
Oh yeah. The
So
real money.
what was your first product that you launched?
The first thing that I ever sold was tiny little polymer clay charms. I would go to the craft store and I would buy my little blocks of clay and I would shape and like build these teeny tiny little figures or like I don't even know what they were, but they were like these super niche things that you could like put on keychains, earrings. And it was the most time consuming thing ever. And I did not sell them for enough money. So that was a learning experience. It was something I loved to do, but it was not good long term, you know.
So how much were you selling them for your very first time?
It was, I think that it was probably like $3 or $4 per thing that took me like at least 2 hours to make one. So,
And then do you remember how much you made the entire day?
oh my goodness. I do not remember. That was so long ago. I know that I worked so hard making all those things. It took me weeks and weeks to prepare for it. And then it was like 5 hours of selling. And I'm sure that it wasn't that much, but I had the time of my life doing it. So,
That's good. So my first product, I sold cucumbers out of my mom's garden. And so I think I was selling the cucumbers for like 10 cents. And, this was a long time ago. I was 7 years old. And so, but I did it because I wanted money to buy ice cream from the ice cream truck.
of
And I
course.
sold all the cucumbers in the garden. And I was able to buy ice cream every night of that for the whole entire week. So it paid off
Wow.
for me. So so when you did your second event, did you change your product up?
Yes. The second one I did was a couple years later. It was, I think, like 2 years ago at this point, which is like maybe like 5 or 6 years after the first one.
Okay.
Um, at that point, that's when I started doing like the cakes and bakes kind of thing. So at that first Kid Biz Expo, I had like cake pops, I had macarons, cupcakes, I had a few mini cakes, more of like the actual edible tasty stuff. So
And had you been baking up to that point, or were you like, oh, hey, I'm going to try to bake for this event?
I've been baking just like for hobbies, you know. And I remember like the first time that I like was baking at home and I was like, oh, this could be a business was the Thanksgiving before that. I think it was like 2021 maybe. Um, I I was put in charge of desserts for Thanksgiving for my family, and I made 4 pies and a cake in one day. And I was like, this is a great time. I'm having so much fun. And then my dad's like, people will buy that stuff. And so I'm like, that's a good idea. So I put my hobbies and my fun skills to work because people value that and people value like hard like homemade stuff and like talent. So
So what has been your number one seller?
definitely like the custom cakes. Right now the trendy thing are like Pinterest cakes is what people call them with like fancy piping. It's kind of like vintage style that's like coming back around. So people get a lot for those like birthdays and like kids parties and stuff. So
Nice, nice. And what is an average cake cost, like for you
um
to sell?
I sell mine for like $50. I have a couple different sizes, but I usually sell the 2 layer 6-inch cakes, which are like that big. And it takes me about 3 hours to make and about $20 worth of ingredients. So
So what is the what has been the biggest challenge or failure? And I know a lot of people don't like to focus on failure, but I think that understanding where your failures were to make your progression better is key to identify. So what do you think was your kind of your mistake when you were trying to grow your business? What did you stumble
for
on the most?
yeah. For me personally, I know it's totally different for each person, but I definitely have a habit of being a workaholic. So a lot of times I would overwork myself in other areas of my life, like school or my other job that I have. And then I wouldn't leave myself enough room to like actually work on the business. And then when I did work on the business, it often left me like burnt out and I was lacking a lot of motivation. And so I think it's really important to have like balance with that in your other life. Like, yes, it's great to focus on like certain aspects of your life, but it's important to like keep it all balanced so that you can continue to strive for the best in each area.
Nice. And what would you say your biggest win has been?
Um, I think that I really did a good job of like finding a niche in the market. Like, especially in Southwest Florida, there's not a ton of people who do what I do. And who like price how I price. So I found a good opportunity for a need in the community so that I could make money from it.
Yeah, you don't see bakeries on the every corner like you
Yeah.
used to as often. And I know you have just the big chain
Yeah.
supermarkets that sell stuff,
Yeah,
but
the
you're pretty
grocery
much
stores and then the other small businesses who charge like 150 for a cake. So, which
okay.
there's nothing wrong with that. Price at your own scale. That's great.
Have you
But
done any wedding cakes yet?
I've done a few, no like major ones, because right now the big thing for weddings is to do like mini desserts or like dessert tables.
Okay.
I've done like some like cupcakes and little mini pies and stuff. So
So you have to know the market, and sounds like you've done your research on knowing what weddings they want, what people want for birthday parties. How much of that influence comes from social media? Like, is that where you kind of get your research?
yeah, a lot of it is social media. And yeah, like that's where you see like the trends and like that's what other like of people in your customer segment are going to be looking at too. And so they see it on social media and they want it. And so it's important to like look there and see it. Another good way to like just do your research is literally just ask people. Like ask people without trying to like get a certain answer out of them. Like open-ended questions are super good for figuring out what people need and want.
Nice, nice. And then what's next for your business? So where do you want to go? I know through this whole process, you actually started an LLC.
Hmm.
and have your own official business, your own EIN number and all that good stuff. For those that don't know what an EIN number, it's your tax identification number. Um, so where do you go from here?
I'm definitely gonna continue to expand. In the past, like 6 months since I've moved out of my parents' house, I'm living on my own. I'm a lot more involved in my college community, so I'm doing a lot better job of like marketing to that specific group and like expanding my target market. In the future, after I graduate college, I'm not hoping, I'm going to. It's a fact. I'm going to open my own bakery cafe somewhere, probably somewhere in Florida, but it's not going to be exactly the same as what I'm doing now, but I want to take like my experience with this business and my experience with my other jobs and like combine it into like a cool cafe experience kind of thing.
Awesome, awesome. And I always like to ask to everybody, we all have our goals and dreams. And do you write down your goals? Do you Are you good at writing them down each year, or even at each month, and saying, "Hey, this is where I want to be"?
That's something I definitely need to work on.
Okay.
But something about me is that like I'm super super determined. Once I like have my mindset on something, like that's the only thing that's in my brain. So like once I've figured out like for example like school with my plan for graduation, I've got that in my head exactly what I want to do, which classes I'm going to take, what semester, like until I graduate. And like planning that out, like writing it down is definitely would help. But like planning it out like step by step, honestly, is something that's very beneficial. It seems like a lot of work, but if you take it slow, it definitely is a good
Well,
process.
the experts say if you actually write it down, yeah, I think it's something like this is not the exact. I'm just throwing out a number, but they say it's about 42% more likely to hit your goal if you write it down. So I always encourage kids to write it down. I encourage anybody to write down their goals and make sure you know where you're going. What is your biggest, craziest dream? Like if you were to like look at your business and what you want to do, where would be like the biggest thing you would want to be? Do you want to be a chain across the country? Do you want to have just the biggest in Southwest Florida? What's your biggest, craziest dream for your business?
Definitely like being a chain would be super awesome, but also one of like my goals for my business is for it to be like a personal experience, you know? Like once you get like too big, sometimes it becomes not as special. I think that's something that would be super awesome to do eventually in the future would be to like mentor other people with like the baking and like the business specifically. It'd be super cool to travel and like do stuff with that in other countries. Like I'm hoping to go to France eventually in the next couple of years to go learn about pastry there. So,
We visited France and there was a bakery on every corner,
uh,
and every restaurant we went to, there was always just crazy desserts
and
and
I bet everything was as delicious as it could possibly
oh,
be.
it was amazing.
Oh
It
my
was amazing.
gosh,
So,
that's incredible.
um, and then do you ever want to be a celebrity chef?
Celebrity is a scary word. I don't know about that. I see like the one that everyone thinks of is Gordon Ramsay, of course. And like he's a great person, you know, seems like a cool guy, but that much recognition, I don't know about that.
Nice.
I'll
Well,
leave the fame. I'll take the fortune though.
well, we appreciate you being here, sharing your experience with the Biz Kids. We have kids all the way from age 7 to 21 that want to learn how to run businesses, and I think hearing your story can inspire them to try. The biggest thing that gets people messed up is the fear of trying. They don't want to try it. They don't want to make a mistake. They don't want people to laugh at them. And sometimes you just have to go in, try it, do it, and experience it for yourself. So thank you, Kaci, for being here today. And we're excited for your future. And we're looking forward to tasting some of your cakes
Oh,
someday.
of
So
course. Thank you so much.
thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. There it is.
I'm gonna